My name is Trish McCoy, and this is the day I brought home Kaiya. I've been working with Kaiya at her owner's place for almost a year. Kaiya was very shut down when I first met her, and she was very hard to read. She was so let down by humans, she didn't have any reason to think that she could just use her body language to communicate with me, so she didn't even try. She would seemingly be fine one moment and throwing herself at me in threatening manner in the next. I had many conversations with her owner admitting I found her very hard to read. We would have to lead her with a chain because she knew she could drag her owner. She was a bit sour about saddling when we first got her, and we were trying to fix that with clicker training. She was just so disconnected, she wasn't even picking up on the fact that she was doing something to earn the reward. She just took the treat and disassociated again. She had came from a trail riding barn, so at first I assumed she just felt used and no connection to people. But the more I worked with her, the more I realized it was just more than that. Shortly after the owner had gotten her, we were able to start some riding, but she was only letting us on if we would let her walk out to the hayfields to go eat hay. If we tried to move on, she'd get defensive and angry. There was one day I had tried to use a dressage whip just to gently tap her until she walked on, and then tried rewarding her with a treat and also letting her eat grass again. I tried to turn her away from the hayfield and back again. After that ride, she no longer would let us on. Recently, I'm doing a lot more studying on my knowledge of permission-based training and trauma in humans and animals and what it does to the mind. I'd been learning about the polyvagal theory, and after all this, it had become clear to me we definitely needed to completely change our approach. Her owner can see she wasn't happy and wasn't willing. So we changed our training sessions to 100% liberty and only positive reinforcement. Just out in her field, we were using a target on a crop, and she finally was figuring out the idea of clicker training. She started to enjoy our sessions. We had to take things really slow and be very predictable and repetitive so she could build confidence that it wasn't some trick. She started to give me a few more expressions. It gave me more to read. I was able to back off when it was becoming too much by an ear twitch or a tightening of her lips, and she realized I was listening. This was the beginning to her healing, but the end to her tolerance of us not listening to her. She knew now that we were capable of seeing her thoughts, and this caused issues for the owner as she wasn't practiced and as in tuned with her subtle cues, which started to cause Kaiya to actually be more aggressive to the owner when they were being ignored. So the owner and I had a long discussion. She didn't want to feel like she was giving up on Kaiya, but also was feeling like this was probably more than she could handle. She was feeling overwhelmed, and as much as she really wanted to be the one who could help her, she didn't feel like she could do it. And it also wasn't fair to ask her family to put up with this behavior. It was getting dangerous for her and her family. We agreed I would take her to help her. It would be Kaiya's best chance. So here I am loading her on a trailer. And through this whole process, you can see I've tried to just use the target and the clicker training to guide her in. This will be the last time that I ever use a chain on her nose. Kaiya is going to be continued to be trained with positive reinforcement and permission-based training only from here on out. I hope that we will be able to get back to riding, but definitely I can tell there's a lot going on with Kaiya's body, but at the moment she's so restricted and defensive that I can't even tell exactly where her pain lies. As she starts to allow me to touch her body more and explore around, and she starts to communicate a little bit better about when I'm getting close to something that's painful and not just defensive of everything, we'll be able to figure out where it is she's tight and where it is she's sore, and hopefully help her body heal. This will be my first horse I work with 100%, just clicker training and permission-based training. If you're interested to follow along, I will have a Facebook group that's going to tell her story, as well as I'll discuss more on these ideas of this positive reinforcement only, permission-based training. Most of the time, I believe that pressure release can be used ethically with most horses. I think Kaiya has just had way too much trauma in her life. I think she needs to have 100% say what happens with her so she feels in control again and can learn to trust again. Ultimately, I know I have a lot to learn from Kaiya. So here we go as she takes her first step to a life focused on healing. I hope she has the forgiveness she will need. My girl, Kaiya.